Activity number 4 is where you're going to be putting together a program or part of a program. Printed program, in this case it's a patriotic program. There are lots of things going on, and so therefore there's lots of type and there's lots of segments and there's lots of repeating type of word formatting that is occurring here to make it very easy to scan. And there's a right here you can download a PDF file that will take you to it'll take you to some examples here that what students have done plus my comments. It would be to your benefit to go through and take a look at the work and read my comments. There's some layout, typography comments here. There are some formatting comments, all which will be beneficial to you as you plan out how you're going to do this particular program, the format you're going to choose, horizontal, vertical, letter, legal, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. And as you decide and you see something that's similar to what you have intended to do, please make a few notes. There's a lot of learning here from these comments, so you might want to learn from what previous students have done. Now, all of this copy here, you don't have to type in yourself. Here is an example. Well, this is the actual information. This is an actual program that I did at one time, a long time ago, and these are the materials that I received. And a lot of times when you're working with a client, you'll notice that you don't get the best stuff. And so basically, somebody typed up this information. This is their attempt to get the information in some sort of format. And notice they started, look at the tributes here, the subheads. They definitely are attempting to keep the formatting the same so you can easily scan down through this. And so you want to organize this the same way. Now, I made some comments on here to help you understand the different components. So you want to really understand first what this program's about, what it's supposed to accomplish, and before you begin here. If you can't read something, or if there's some correction, then I've typed that into red here. This was the previous program that they had actually put together. Kind of sad looking. You can do a much better job than this. So there's so much to work with. In fact, there's just a lot of copy and information here. And they also gave me a sheet, and looked just like this. Now, these are the people that were singing in the choir. And they've added some names and made a correction. And they actually even gave me a handwritten, here's some additional names to put on here for the Sign Design Theater. So there's all the material that I wanted to include in here. There are really no graphics at all. I decided to keep this graphic right here when I produce the piece, the example that's included with the instructions. What you're going to do is put together several sections here. Let's say you're going to put together a tribute, these segments here on the tribute to Black history, pioneers, Indians, Scouts. And notice they should be the same formatting over and over again. I'm going to show you how to bring together and format those using styles. And then also, we're going to go over some ways of fitting in this information here. In fact, let's go here to the instructions for this particular assignment. You can see this is the piece that I put together for them. It's just a simple legal folded vertical, and I did it this way because there's a lot of lines, and so having it vertical, a legal size, gives me a lot of vertical space. I don't need much horizontal space, so I folded it in half and made it into 2 columns, as you can see here. There's the graphic that I used from a previous year's program, and I picked a few other graphics here. So you're going to basically design a cover, and you're going to design some segments here. And then you're going to do some formatting here of the names of the choirs and credits in that. You're free to do the whole thing in that. I give you some extra credit on that one, but I just mainly want to see how you can fit the copy in the area and format it. So let's assume we're going to put it together as this sample program. Now, I've also included right here where you can actually download the information. Where is that? Well, if you click on here, this will take you to a web page where you can scroll down here and you can see what the copy you want to work with. I typed it all in, even the names. So if I'm going to format, let's say I'm going to format here the Sopranos. Let me scroll all the way down here. This long list of names, so you don't have to copy these in at all. Make it easy for you as possible. So there's the names, and I'm just going to, copy that, and I will have that available for placing. So now let's go set up the document. Here we are in InDesign, and I'm definitely going to need over here, I'm going to need my tools, and here at the top I've got my control palette for formatting. I don't think I'm going to need strokes. I'm going to need, well, I'll pull out these windows here. You can see they're off screen now, but there's the control and there's the tools. And I'll bring these other ones in as we need them, okay? So let's first, though, create a new document. When we get the dialog box, it comes up for a new document. We've went through this previously. This doesn't need to have facing pages. Actually, it does have facing pages because in this case there's 4 pages. There's a centerfold spread side by side, so we want facing pages. We want to have a total number of 4 pages. Actually, I'm setting this thing up as a legal document you'd print on 2 sides. So I really don't need facing pages. I do need 2 pages, front and back, and I don't need the facing pages. And I'm going to make it a legal size, and it's vertical. And I'm going to make it into 2 columns. Now, standard gutter with 1 pica between. I'm going to change that because what I'm going to be doing here is creating a each column. Let me show you here what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm showing you here that page 1, it would be the outside, and page 2 would be the inside. And I'm just going to print them back to back. So I'm making 2 columns here. And what's the space I want between the columns? Well, how close do I want this copy on the back to get to this folding mark? And you can see on the inside here, that basically is going to be the distance between these 2 columns is my column distance. And that's, I don't know, maybe, let's say, what's about the same distance here as I'm going to have here. So I'm going to make this distance here 1/2 inch. I'm going to make that 1/2 inch and that 1/2 inch all the way around. So here's where I have my margins at 1/2 inch, and it's already at 1/2 inch. Remember, 3 picas is 1/2 inch because 6 picas equal an inch. So this is already set up, and I'm going to take care of that one. But I'm going to also then put 3 picas, or watch, I'm going to go 0.5 space IM, 1/2 inch. When I hit the tab key, it's going to convert that to the current units of measurement, picas. So that's how I'm setting this thing up. And I think I'm done here. I'm going to click OK. And you can see here, let me zoom in, that basically I've created these 2 documents. In this document, these 2 pages. And that's the format that I want. And so these guides are to help me to keep my copy within the document. Now you can see here that this is like my thumbnails. I've done the sketching. I've planned out where things are going to go. And so on the back here, I'm going to have my choir. And so I've copied that already from the web page. So let me go back here and paste it. Since it's going to be in this area right here, I'm going to just select an area like that. Okay, I'm going to zoom into 100%. Then I'm going to paste in my copy. And there it is, all that stuff, and it just goes on and on and on. As you can see, it spills over. In fact, let me come up here and take a look here at my hidden characters so it can actually show me where my return keys are. And I've got a return key between each line of type. Well, I don't want that. I want to get rid of those. And so one way of doing that is you just put your cursor there and hit the delete key and it deletes it. But I'm going to delete all these all at one time. Show you a little trick here. It's find and change. It's just like the search and replace in Microsoft Word, if you're familiar with that one. So I'm going to go find a return key. I happen to know what that is, but if I don't, I can look under the special characters and what's the return key to call? It's called end of paragraph. And there it is. It's a caret P, P for paragraph. And I want to change that to, actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm looking for two of them, right? Two in a row. Remember, one of the rules is, it says never hit a return key twice. Use vertical spacing to control it, not return key to control the vertical spacing. Use the formatting. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find two of them, and I'm going to change it to one. That is the net effect is I'm deleting an extra return key. The story is what I'm working with, everything within that container, and I'm going to change all of them at once. Boom. And you can see that there were 93 of them in this instance, and I immediately changed all those. So that makes it pretty easy for me to format to get rid of all those extra keystrokes, okay? Now you can see down here that altos is not the name of a person. That is the name of a part or a section in the choir. So sopranos. So what I'm going to do is I'm shortcutting this by doing these things on the keystroke. Command-Shift B makes it bold, and Command-Shift greater than makes it big like that. And those are the only two formats that I want to make sure I do. And so I formatted that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring in my window. Under the type and tables, I'm going to look at my paragraph. Excuse me. I'm looking under styles. I'm going to bring in my paragraph style. Okay? And so let me bring it over here so you can see this here. Oh boy. Stop doing that. So I'm going to pull up my paragraph style, and what you can see here is basically I'm going to take this selection, my cursor is in that paragraph, I'm going to make a new paragraph style. Ooh, you can't see that because it's off screen here, so let me pull this over. I'm going to make a new paragraph style, and it's going to just take the information right here. As you can see, I've gone through these styles before with you, but you can see that it is bold, 18 point. Okay, and I'm going to give it a shortcut. I'm going to call this, I can't do a shortcut here on my laptop because I don't have a 10-key number pad, which is the 10-key pad is what you use for your shortcuts. And so I will have to bypass that shortcut. But you could type in, say, Shift 1 from the number pad, and it'll go Shift 1 in here, and then that'll be a shortcut that you can use to apply that to anything else. I'm going to call this up here as the choir part, subhead. Anything you want to call it, just makes it easier. You can see there it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply back to this selection the subhead. That means that I formatted this with local formatting. I did it with my, my formats up here. And so it's only changed in that paragraph. Then I took those formats and applied it to a label, a style that I call Choir Part Subhead, which has a list of instructions that any paragraph that has this style applied to it will take on those attributes. Well, when I apply this back to it, nothing happens. But if I scroll down here to where it says altos, see, I'm back to my basic paragraph, and then I click on that one. If I had the quick shortcut, I could go Shift 1, boom, it would have changed automatically. And so that's the power of these styles, and that you have a consistency in the subheads. Now, let's get some more copy in here so you can see what's going on as far as these names are going. I have two options here. I can resize this box, right, like this, and then I can pick up here and press and drag and make another column like that, and it will jump from here to the next one, and it still won't fit in. As you can see, there's some sort of an overflow type here, but it has at least given me where I can see tenors, right? And so I can very quickly click on Choir Part Subheads. It's off screen. Come over here, click on bass. I'm going to highlight it so you can see what I'm selecting and apply the style to that one. And now I have the same style applied to all of these. Okay? Let me get that out of the way here. Oops. I don't think I need this stroke on this one. So what I'm going to do here now is go back in and edit this choir part subhead. So I'm going to double click on it, and I can come back here, and you can actually preview by clicking on the preview button here. Preview the changes that I'm going to make. And what I'm going to do is change the character color, all the keystrokes. And so let me come over here and pick, let's pick a dark blue. Now watch what happens. When I click on this, I'm changing the definition of this paragraph style, Choir Part Subhead, which is applied to each of these 4 paragraphs. So you'll see when I click on this and change it right here that the colors change. It doesn't matter what I change, they all change at the same time. Very convenient. They're not all selected, are they? Yes, they are selected. It appears that only the bases are selected because you can see the highlight. That's only selected for applying specific format just to those. However, what I'm changing here is the definition of the paragraph style for Choir Part Subhead, and that is pointing to all of these. So in essence, when I change it here, it's pointing to these, so you could say it's basically like it's being selected, and they all change at the same time. And so there we go. I'm going to leave it like that, and click OK. And that is the power of keeping consistency and the power of changing edits very easily using styles. I want you to use it so that you can keep a consistency in the format. Now the names are too big here, okay, and they're overflowing. This is the area that I want to fit it in. Remember, I told you by my design, that's the area I want to fit it in. It's got to fit in there, but it's not fitting in there. So let's talk about copy fitting. Copy fitting is where you take a bunch of copy and fit it into a designated area. And then a way to do that would be start deleting words. So there's less to fit in the area, but we need all the words because they're names of people. Or we could format them smaller. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select a few of these and make it a little bit smaller. Now I can do that on the fly, maybe going Shift Command less than, okay, or I could do it from up here. And I'm going to indent it a little bit too. So I'm going to come over here to paragraph formatting, and you can see here that this says it's the space before. I don't want that one. This one says it's the left indent. That's what I want to do. I want it to indent just a little bit. So by making it smaller, type, and indenting it, I'm creating a contrast between the heading and the names of the people in there. And it'll look better, be easier to read, and because it's smaller, it's going to fit in. So I've already got it selected. So let me come over here and say, I want to create a new paragraph style from that selection. And there you can see that it says it's a 10-point, which is smaller, left indent. Okay, give it a name. In this case, I'm just going to call it, choir members. And I'm going to apply choir members back to that one. Okay, now look at this. I can easily just select this whole area here and select choir members and oops, choir members, there we go. And all the formatting changes the same. Same thing here for altos. Changing the choir members, tenors, and basses. Oh, and see I'm coming right down here where it says Sign Design Theater. I'm going to stop because that's another heading. Choir members. I'm going to make Sign Design Theater like a choir part. Okay? And it still spills over. Actually, all of this information right here, I want to put into a separate box, a separate control. So I'm going to select this spillover, say, boom, and I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to make it too wide like that. That's the area I want to fill in, and there it is. Okay. I can now what I can do is, instead of making two boxes like I did above and having it flow from one to the other, I want to have this box formatted so it forms automatically two columns. So with it highlighted, I'm going to come up to, and you cannot see that here because it's off screen, where it allows me to make two columns. Where is that in, let's see if it's in here. So, some of these I don't know where to find them in the menus because I'm used to using the quick keys or I'm used to using the control palette above. But since the control palette is off screen and you can't see it and I want to show you, I'm looking to see if I can find where I can format columns. I can select an object and let's see, maybe it would be under text frame option because it's a text frame that I'm dealing with. It's a container, that, or a frame that has text in it. And you can see right here, columns, a number of columns. Let's turn the preview, and I can come up here and select and go 2 columns. And that looks, if I did 3 columns, it's too narrow because then the names would fit in there. They might fit in if they're smaller. Let me click OK and try that one, okay? Still spilling over, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this name, and notice it's connected here, isn't it? So it spills over and I'm going to select as much as I can like that and come back up here and say choir members. And you can see, whoops, it's bringing these up a little bit, so I'm going to select these here a little bit too as well. And choir members. And it all fits in there. In fact, their names, because they're smaller, fits in the 3-column format. So that'll work for me. Copy fitting pretty good. And I'm looking at, oh, what's the special thanks to? Oh, do these people here that you're giving special thanks to, do they belong with Sign Design Theater or the choir? No, they do not. So they really should be in their own box. So I'm going to select these like that and cut them out. Command X. Okay. And I'm going to come down here and create a new frame by pressing and dragging with my text box and pasting it in, Command V, and now it's its own, and it's still spilling over, okay? So I will get to that a little bit later, but let me go back up here and clean up this mess. This doesn't belong there. If I were to cut this out, right? Cut it out. Because it flows from here to there, it's just going to suck up the type from the previous one, so that's not going to help me. What I want to do here is I could make, ooh, look at that. That should go down here at the bottom of the altos. And I'll say, so I brought them down here like that. And then that looks a little bit better for the columns to start like that. Right? I can just move these down and move that down. And, oh, maybe I want to move this down now. And I can almost fit that in there. However, Sign Design Theater is not part of the choir. In fact, where does it say choir? It doesn't say choir. I really need a heading up here. So I'm going to use my type tool. I'm going to press and drag. I'm going to marquee an area that I want to make a text box. And there's the text frame. I'm going to type choir. Maybe I want to type all caps. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but don't type all caps. Type it in upper and lower case, and if I want it to be all caps, I can highlight it. And then coming up here to my character formatting, there's the all caps. See? Then if I want to change it to small caps, I can do that. Or if I want to just remove that, make it upper and lower case. If I type it into all caps, then I'm going to have to retype the keystrokes again, or come up here and say change the case and like that. Those are your options of going back and forth between uppercase, all caps, a title case where every word is capitalized, sentence case where only the first letter is capitalized, and any proper pronouns are all lowercase. Neither one of these do I want if I were typing a long sentence. So anyway, just a paragraph, just a single word here. So let me make that all caps, okay? And then I'm going to come over here and my paragraph formatting and center it, okay? And then I can triple click, double click on it and make it bold and bigger, and probably because it needs to be at the next highest level up from the parts, it should be a little bit bigger than the parts or somehow be different. It's different because it's centered and they're not centered, but I'm also going to make it different because I want to make it all caps. Small caps. That looks a little more refined. So you can see now. Now, do I need to make a style sheet for that one? No, I'm not repeating that anywhere else. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing. And so, but I need to select everything, Command A, and then move it down here into place. And now you can see it's fitting into place a little bit better. It's getting to be packaged a little bit better. Okay, except this one spilled over here. So if I bring this one down just a little bit more, that would fill it in. I wouldn't even need this one, would I? But I want to keep this as a separate thing. So I just want to control it separately. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to place my cursor right here. And I could just cut all of that out. There's nothing else to go back in there. You can still see down here that it's going to overflow, so if I type it into place there, it's going to still get sucked up into there because of the overflow thing, right? I can delete that one. And I'm going to create an unlinked, or it's not tied into the flow at all. And I'm going to paste it in, and so now it's its own little box. And in this case, with this highlighted, I can then make it 2 columns. That's not going to kind of work because I want Sign Design Theater to be on one line all the way across both columns, centered like it is up here. See that? And how did I do it up here? Well, I made that a separate box than these. So I'm going to have to do that, aren't I? I can just delete this, or I could cut it out. If I cut it out, that will save me, right, from having to retype it in. So if I cut it out, move that down, and with my type tool, marquee an area, make a new frame there, and paste in that. There we go. I've saved some keystrokes. And now you can see that I can move this into place, and as I move this up, it's evening it out. And actually, if I want this to be the same as this down here, I could highlight this, okay? And I want to apply the formatting for the choir. Well, here's a quicker way of doing it. Let me go back here and do my eyedropper tool. I always call it a pickup tool, because I'm going to pick up the formatting on this one. If you can see, it's off screen down here. Watch what's going to happen. I'm going to click on that one, and it picks it up. Let's scroll down and see what happened. Whatever was selected, it took on that. Bold, certain size, centered, small caps. So that saved me a lot of work. I didn't have to make a style, a paragraph style, and apply it to both of those, because these are probably the only two ones like that one, but they're the same. And so as I zoom out here a little bit, you can start to see now how the packaging is working out, okay? This, I'm going to move it up a little bit right here like that. So this is all packaged together. These two frames belong together. And this frame, and this frame belongs together. Let me zoom in here. Command 2 will zoom into 200%. Remember, we're talking about zooming in and out. There's some shortcuts you want to do here. Actual size is 100%. It doesn't show Command 2, but that's for 200%. Command 4 is for 400%. And it'll zoom into the center of the screen, whatever you have selected. So I've got Choir selected. I'm going to go Command 1. Boom, right there in the center of the screen. Command 2. Okay, for 200%. Command 1's fine. And so I can see here now that this frame is a lot taller than I need it to be. And there's not going to be a second line it needs to show, so I'm going to make this frame go up just a little bit like that, so it doesn't overlap the box. It just makes it look better when I'm previewing it, when I'm looking at it on the screen, but it also makes it easier for adjusting things and moving things around. So I'm going to move it up, and I'm moving this up. I select it, and then I'm using my cursor keys on the keyboard, up, down, left, right, okay, and I can move it around without having to press and drag it like this. And so if you want to take a look at Command 1, Command 7 for 75%. Whoops, sorry. Did they change that one? Command 7? Oh, they did. Let's see. View. I wonder if they changed Command 5. Command 5, that's for 50%. Command 7. Huh, strange. Okay, they moved that around. We can't zoom in by quick key. But here I can see, wow, there's just a lot going on here, and that doesn't seem to match up very well, does it? But let's take a look at what this looks like now if I were to preview this. So I'm in normal mode now. Let's go into the preview mode. And that's a pop out from the bottom of the type menu, bottom of the toolbox. So there, that's what's kind of looking like. But you got a big hole right here. Anything we want to put there? We could put this in here somewhere, maybe. I don't know if that's going to fit. Could we balance these columns? Could we, let's see, soprano's the longest, then alto's the second longest, then tenors and bass are about the same. Well, altos and sopranos are about the same. How about if we did sopranos on left and altos over here, and then tenors and bass down here? Maybe we could even up a little bit more. Okay? Well, let's try that one. So I'm going to bring this one up here. Right? I'm going to now, look how I did that, really nice. And then I'm going to move this up here like this. Okay, I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to come down here like this, and I'm going to paste them in. And should I make it 2 columns? It's a little different. And I kind of want to match that up a little bit more. So maybe I should have made everything a 2-column box. So what I'm going to do here is, let's try this. I'm ending up basically making sopranos its own box, and altos its own box, and tenor its own box, and I'm going to click and drag over here. I'm going to make bass its own box. Okay, I can come down here and adjust this so it sucks up the other tenors. And now you can see here, look at this. I can move this around like this, and now it is looking a little bit better. In fact, okay. And now that's okay. And this can come back up here. I'm going to select these two and move them back up here. And so I'm going to bring back my normal so I can see the guides, the areas that I have to be working within, okay? And I have plenty of space down here now for these special thanks. And I might want to make this a lot bigger. I'm doing special thanks. But see what you're doing, what I'm doing here is I'm moving things around a little bit better. In fact, maybe I could select all of these here and move it over just a little bit. Now keep in mind that this is going to center on the back, isn't it? From here to here is going to center on the back when it's folded, because the fold's going to go right down the middle here. Okay? And so if it's folded here a little bit, this is what? This distance is only half of this distance. So when this is folded, the copy on the back is going to look like it's shifting to the right a little bit, isn't it? But I've got a lot of extra space over here, so it might offset it and look like it's going to work pretty good. I might want to print it out and see how it looks and see if I move it over or not. But it might work just the way it is here. And so you can see what I've done here is I've packaged this thing. And special thanks to, and I'm going to get these names here. And they're more important, I'm thinking. So, whoops, I didn't grab that one. See, I could make a style sheet for these, or just do it one up. I want to indent this one, so it's a paragraph command, right? So I'm going to go back up to paragraph, and I want to indent it a little bit. And how much do you want to indent the thing, okay? Kind of visually center there, if this is what I wanted to do. Now, Bob Miller, select that one. Let's go take a look up here in the character formatting. And that's 22 point. And down here, Susan Denny's is 20. See, I could tell it looked a little different. Again, if I just select them all and make them the same, okay, 22, 21, whatever, and it's not going to quite fit in there. Let me pull this thing down a little bit. And now they all fit in there just fine. So as far as my copy fitting goes, and packaging, let me go preview this and see what it looks like. Just so you can see where the fold is, I'm going to make a line right here. We know that this line is going to go right down the middle. See that? Okay, and I zoom in to 200%. Is that? There we go. That's in the middle there. So that's basically going to be where the fold is. Okay, so let's preview this and see what it looks like. From where the fold is, does it look kind of centered on the back page? No, it doesn't. It looks a little bit to the left. Why? Because the rag over here on the right side makes it look like there's more spacing than there is on the left side. So I'm going to mark here around these areas to select all of these since I want them to travel together, and I'm going to move them over to the right. Whoops, I accidentally selected this line here that I was using for folding to show you where the fold is. There we go. And so I'm going to move that over, but it's still kind of confusing because now those blue lines show me what's going on. I can come up here and I think I can. I know I can hide the guides. Nope, that's not what I want. I guess I won't be able to do that here. I can do that easily in Illustrator where I can hide the highlights of the particular things that are selected. But I guess can I do that? Oh yeah, here it is under Extras. Hide the frame edges. It's not allowing me to. It's allowing me to see them. Show frame edges. That's not working like I was expecting. Let's see. Okay, so let me select it all and move it over a little bit again. Deselect it until it's looking pretty good. Now, there needs to be a little more space above thanks to and sign design because you know, it just needs that. And so I think what I'm going to do here is, see, I've got to highlight all this, don't I, and change it again. maybe it would have been best to do this. Remember? Make a new paragraph style. And we're going to call this we're going to call it listing 2. Paragraph 2 would listing again, but smaller type would be listing 1. This is listing 2. I'm just being arbitrary, I suppose. But there it is, and I'm going to apply it back to there. So watch this. Without it being highlighted at all, I can come up here and say, hey, let's change the listing. And let's preview any of these changes here, okay? I want to change the leading. And the leading's over here. So I'm going to change the leading, and watch what's going to happen. As I change the leading, it gets a little closer to each other, doesn't it? That's not so bad. Now I've got more space to work with, and so let me do this one. Come up here under Special Things To, and I want to give more space below that paragraph. So I'm going to come up here to Paragraphs and Paragraph Formatting, and let's see, what is this one called? Space after the paragraph. See that one? And I also want to do some space before that paragraph. Oh, but since there is no paragraph above it, it's not going to work. There's no paragraph above it because it's the first paragraph in the box. So I just move it down, must move the box down. And now you can see that it's nicely partitioned. Choir looks a little bit too much to the right, even though it's centered. Or is it centered? It's not centered. Can you see it's not centered? So let's go over here and center it. And maybe move it up a little bit more. And look at that. Just enough spacing to see that things are a little different. Same thing with Sign Design Theater. Move it over here. And now you can clearly see, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to group and format and get the formatting right and the spacing, the vertical, and make sure it's proportioned in the area. Very well done. Using paragraph styles. Now, what we want to do is go inside, and let me take the preview off. Remember I turned off guides. I said hide the guides. Now I want to show the guides, okay? So there are the guides, and I'm going to put some copy in there for some of the segments in the program. So let's get that copy. Here's where the copy of it is, and actually, see the special thanks to right here we picked up? There's some other copy that I didn't see. This has got to fit in on that same area. Okay, and then it's got heartfelt thanks to all those. So thanks. So somehow that has to get fit in now. There's the challenge for you. Okay, let's go scroll up and take a look at some of the segments. Okay. Let's see, we have a tribute to Native Americans, a tribute to those in uniform, tribute to Native Americans, tribute to our military, and let's see what else. Tribute to military goes all the way down to where does it go down to? Goes all the way down to here. Okay? So there's all the copy that falls under those 3 segments. So I'm going to go copy, or I could just cut it out and then, I can't cut it out. It's from a website, so I can just copy it. And let me go back over now and figure out where I'm going to place this. With my type tool, let's do it on the right side. Okay, I'm going to marquee out an area. Better to mark out too big of an area when I'm first doing it. There we go, it still spills over. Okay, let me zero in here again, and you can clearly see same problem I was dealing with before, remember? So we want to come up here, find within this story, right? This particular story that I just placed. And look, it remembers it from the last time. Find all the double and replace with a single. Change all. 21. Well, that saved me a lot of work, didn't it? Okay, so now I got the keystrokes that I need. And so what do I want to do here? I want to create a typeface for this one. To cut things short, I'm going to use just the choir subparts. Okay. So I would make a separate one for these simply because I want to control them separately. Military, there we go. So you can see by using these styles, they're all consistent, and the material just pops right out. But I have the same formatting repeating over and over again. Duet should be formatted the same way as song, as speaker, as song, okay, as poem, okay? And the topic of the, well, Come Ye Saints, God Bless America, that ought to be formatted the same. Now notice, Duet and Come Ye Saints are going to need different formatting, and they're consistently, all the other repeating parts in the program will have the same formatting, but they're different formatting in the same paragraph. So what I'm going to need to do is make character formatting. So let's say we're going to make that bold, and I want to make that bold, I want to make that bold. Wouldn't it be a lot easier if we just, well, it's about the same amount of work. We make that bold, and we're going to apply a character style. See this right here? We'll make a character style. Let's pull this over so you can see the pop out. A new character style from the selection. And the only thing it says is bold. Okay? So I'm just going to call this the presentation type. Okay? And I'm going to apply presentation type to it. Same thing here. I could come up here and apply the bold to it like that. I could shortcut Command Shift B to make that bold. But suppose it's bold and red and italic and a different type size. You know, right now it's just one format style. So, but I can, you know, if it was multiple, it'd be more reasonable why we'd want to do this. So I'm going to apply this to the same thing. Double click, click. It's pretty easy. Double click on poem, presentation type. Speaker, double click on it, presentation type. Song, double click. So you can see it's pretty easy to format that. And now if I'm like going to go back and say, hey, I want to make it a different color as well, I can double click on that and I can just change the color here and say, let's make it red. Let's preview that one. And look, they all change red. See how easy that is? It's consistent, easy to format it, and easy to edit it and to change it. Now I have two formats for each one of these. If I were to go back and say, oh, I want to change this a little bit smaller, I got to select that, make it smaller. Select that one, make it smaller. Select that one, make it smaller. No, let's just do this. Come into the presentation type, character style, double click on it, and make it smaller, which would be where? Right here's the size. So I'm going to make it, I'm going to do 10 point, tab key, and they all go smaller. Okay? How about 11 point? 12, 13. Okay, I like it 13. How about if I want to indent this a little bit? Let's see. I can't do an indent here. Why is that? Tell me, why can't I do an indent on this one? Because it's a character style. It applies only to characters, and an indent is for a character or for paragraph styles. Okay, so that's a completely different thing here. I'm just controlling these particular keystrokes. So I'm done here, and I want to do the same thing back here. I notice there's not an opening quotes here. I'm going to make sure I edited anything that needs to be edited. And let's say I want to make that italic. Okay. Does that look pretty good? That's fine. So I'm going to come down here, and under the present character style, I'm going to make a new character style. And this one's going to be presentation title. The other one was presentation type. This is a presentation title. See, so now all I have to do is I can come down here and I just highlight this thing once and change it. And it's consistent. I only have to highlight it once, of course, but I only have to format it once. I don't have to go back up into italic and red and all that. So it sets me up in the future to make edits very easy. And I don't know why. Have you seen consistently here that I need to be putting in these quotes? Okay. And now you can start to see that the copy is starting to pop out because of the contrast that you're creating. And the scannability is starting to happen because you see a consistency in similar types of information. Maybe you don't know what the name of this poem is. It's pretty famous. It's In Flanders Field. How would you know that? You as a designer need to know that your copy is correct. You can run spell check, you can read it yourself, and sometimes you just need to know stuff like that. Okay? And that's why it's important that you just don't pass things on, because as they give it to you, look at it and question everything. If you don't know that's the right name, Flanders Field, okay? Is that what it said before? It said in Flanders Field? I don't know. Let me go up on the internet here, okay? Whoops. Wrong one. There we go. Let me go up on the internet, and I'm going to type in Flanders Field, and it's going to come up and say Flanders Fields, images of Flanders Fields. Oh my goodness! And you soon to learn that it was the scene of the First World War, and it was a battlefield, and it was turned into a cemetery. Hold it. You think this is about military? Ah. That's a typo. See, through a little bit of research, you've done a great service to your client or whoever you're doing this for. Don't just blindly format, pass the thing on. Own it. Own the content. Okay? And so I can go through here and easily fix these up. If I had the quick shortcuts on here, it'd be pretty easy to do, wouldn't it? Okay, now I want to come by here and sung by, and I want sung by to be italic, like that. I want it to be different than this. Well, let's see, maybe I better just make a new character style here. I'm just going to call it by. There we go. And apply that to there. And, okay, by, sung by, okay. And maybe I want that italic too. So again, I could see the name of the person and what the person's doing and their title, and it's being separated. It's more scannable, but it doesn't fit in here. So you have to kind of resolve these issues. One solution may breed another problem, and eventually you'll fix them. Now look, here's a problem. Elected officials. It looks terrible. Can you get that on one line? Let's try to get it on one line. One way to get this on one line is you can come up here and you can make it smaller type. You want that small. No, you could make it more condensed by coming up here and changing the horizontal scale just a little bit. How about a lot? And then we can up the size again. And that's as big as I can get it. Is that all I wanted to say? You know, just to let you know, tribute to Native Americans. What? Hold it, that doesn't belong with Native Americans. Where? God bless America. Why I love America. But that doesn't sound right. Tribute to those in uniforms. Let me cut that out. I bet you it goes up here. Now you don't want to just assume that. You'd want to get a hold of the client, you know, double check your original and see, hey, is that what this is? In fact, this looks a little bit messed up to me. Come ye saints for men in uniform, Native American. I'm looking through and make sure it does make sense here. Anyway, so as you can see here, we want to start working together. You might want to say, hey, maybe this kind of stuff would be centered. And so as you go back in and look at some of the previous types, the previous work of other students and how they formatted and how they separated it out, what we clearly want to do is, and I would suggest you do, is you get one of these correct. Let's do this. Let's just get this correct, okay? Get everything set up for paragraph styles and character styles to format this thing correctly so every piece of information stands out in its own place. This looks to me like it should be a little bit different. This might be maybe a little smaller. Too small? Maybe, what's the abbreviation for commander? You might want to look that up. You want to take the title, that's the longest, and fit it in, barely fit it in, okay? And maybe that's the abbreviation. And I don't need a hyphen there, I would use a comma. I'm setting up the way I'm going to do everything to be consistent. So you can clearly see here that things are starting to pop out. In fact, maybe this ought to be in just a little bit. Okay? I'm doing my spaces, but I don't want to do that because I don't do more than one space. I'm going to come up here and do the left indent just a little bit, just to give it a little bit. And you can see now it's going to fit in here and it's starting to look pretty good. This needs to be separated from that. So we need some space before there, right? And we need some space after there. See how things are starting to pop up here. Okay, so why I love America. Whoops, I didn't do that one right. Okay, this one's sung by what? Do we need to put a verb like we have down here? See how we have a verb? Sung by, song, read by. See the consistency? Performed by, sung by. What does this guy do? So to make it consistent, you should probably said, what? What does the speaker do? Speaks by. Why I love America. Given by, presented by. Whatever you want to come up with, it needs to be consistent. Okay? And then since we want, this is the by, then we'll select this one and say by, and then we'll do this one by, and it needs to indent a little bit. Indents a paragraph format, so maybe the paragraph that describes, see, this is a character format and this is character format, and this is not character. This is done by a paragraph format. So maybe we were just going to make a basic listing. If all these basic listings, no. Let's call this paragraph style. Okay, make a new paragraph style here, and let's call this presenter, and it's paragraph. So I'm going to, under indents, I'm going to indent it from the left indent, which this is already left indent a little bit. Really? More left indent. Okay, so now I'm going to apply to this paragraph this presenter, and boom, it indents it. See that? Presenter indents it. Presenter indents it. Now, is there anything not consistent within these two segments? There's a lot of space over here. I don't know, maybe we want to center this. Maybe we want to make this bigger. Okay, let's make that bigger. So I'm going to click on it. It's a presentation title. So let me double click on that. And let's see what happens when we make it bigger. I'm going to go to basic character formats. There's the size. Let's make it 12. Maybe it was 12. It didn't move much. 13, 14. Aha. How's that? It's getting bigger for the presentation title. Well, how come this is moving over? Let's go take a look at this one. Why would that change? Presenter, that paragraph somehow changed when I changed this, didn't it? Presenter, let me double check. Presenter is based on no paragraph style. That's funny. Why did that change? Hold it. Did this get bigger? Sung by got bigger, didn't it? When I made God Bless America bigger, or when I made presentation title bigger, the by got bigger. Why is that? Well, let's take a look at by. By is based on presentation title. See? If I want this to change the same time as that, then they're based on that, and that's what the default was. So let's say this. Look, it's not based on anything, okay? Let's go back here to by. Take a look at this. Not based on anything. And let's take it back down to where it should have been. Okay, here we have it on 12. See, now we can start to see things popping out a little bit more. And I probably have room for everything. That being the case, now it's so much easier to go down here and to format all the other copy that you bring in. And that's the idea behind this project, is building a part of it that's going to be repeating over and over again, and then make it so that through the styles you can keep things consistent. There's going to be variations like this is different. How are we going to deal with that? There's two people. You know, I might want to make that, you know, by italic. Why? Because visually it allows me to scan down real quick and say that what they're playing is different from their name, and it just separates that piece of information out, and you can get to it much easier. And then lastly, you're going to be putting together the front page. Now, you're doing banners for this next project. Long, skinny banners. This is a tall, skinny front. I'm not asking you to do it this format. You can do it any format you want, but you're going to put together a layout with the information given to you here. And what would go on the front? There is no copy. There is no copy here. The copy is here on the instruction sheet. Okay, here's the cover to include the following information. Choose your own organization, choose where it's going to be. You can pick date and time, whatever you want, but it's called Patriotic Night, a patriotic salute to America. Description of the event, rather. So you want to copy that and use that information on the cover, and get some inspiration from either the samples that are here from or the ones that I'm posting in the announcements.